This presentation is being brought to you by the Military Order of the World Wars, a patriotic organization which has part of its preamble love of our country and flag.
My name is Melanie Whitty, and I am a high school student who lives in Pennsylvania and attends Octorara High School. I have been reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag for a few years, and it occurred to me that I was just saying words in unison with others. I asked myself, what is the true meaning of the pledge? With a little internet research, I uncovered the fact that in 1969, Red Skelton, a famous TV star and actor, explained the meaning of the pledge in a monologue at the end of one of his TV shows about his teacher, Mr. James Lastwell, and how he explained the pledge. I further learned that Colonel Robert Reese, a member of the Military Order of the World Wars, a veteran service organization, had taken the liberty to modify Red Skelton's rendition to bring it up to date and to expound upon the purpose of the pledge. The idea of a pledge to our flag was first conceived by Daniel Ford, the owner of a magazine known as the Youth's Companion, and his nephew by marriage, James Upham, who managed the magazine. Mr. Ford was on a mission to have every school in America fly an American flag. He hoped that the pledge would encourage patriotism. Francis Bellamy, who was employed by the magazine and responsible for arranging a patriotic program for schools, was given the task of writing a pledge. A key element of the program was to have a pledge to the flag for school children to recite in unison. As Bellamy sat down at his desk in August of 1891, the opening words, "I pledge allegiance to my flag," were inscribed onto paper. Then, after 2 hours, he produced a succinct tribute very close to the one we know today. He wrote, "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." The pledge was later modified on 3 occasions as we know it today. Red Skelton, a well-known TV celebrity, was instrumental in explaining the meaning of the pledge in a closing monologue to one of his TV programs. The monologue dealt with his school teacher, Mr. James Lastwell, who felt that his students had come to think of the Pledge of Allegiance as merely something to recite in class each day. According to Skelton, Lastwell began by saying, "I've been listening to you students recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it is becoming monotonous to you. May I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each phrase of the pledge?" Red Skelton's monologue began when he repeated what Mr. Lastwell said to his students when they reiterated the meaning of each phrase of the pledge. "I, an individual having the freedom of choice, do hereby pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. And by that, I mean that I will dedicate my love and devotion to our flag, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom and the American way of life. A pledge is a solemn oath that you will keep your promise. And the republic for which it stands, meaning a republic in which sovereign power is invested in representative chosen by the people to govern. Government is the people, and is from the people that the leaders are selected to represent us, and no leader shall place his or her welfare above the welfare of the people. One nation under God, meaning that we are united in a common cause and have the freedom and right to worship as we please. Indivisible, meaning that we are incapable of being divided, and that we have all come together, individual communities that have united into 50 great states with pride and dignity, all divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common cause that is love of our country. With liberty and justice for all, meaning the right to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation, and being treated fairly and justly under the laws of our land." Mr. Lastwell concluded by saying, "Boys and girls, what does all this mean? It means that it's as much of your country as it is mine, and that you have pledged your loyalty to the continued success of the United States of America. Wherever our flag waves, there is respect because your loyalty has given it a reputation that proclaims freedom is for everyone who respects what our flag stands for." I now have a better understanding of the meaning of the pledge, and I hope that each of you listening to my presentation share in my renewed understanding of its meaning.